you're angry.
I was probably angry at him, yes.
I know that you slept with multiple people and attempted to sleep with a fourth.
How do you know this, Miss Taylor?
You've admitted that you were with both men for at least the span of a month's time.
And that's a secret that I held in me because I just felt like it's none of their business. I'm single.
So you really had your eyes on your gay best friend. This is the guy you really wanted.
Yes, ma'am.
Now you get to this night, you said, come on over, I'm a little Netflix and chill.
It's not every day you get to see your best friend stab you in the back. Ms. Damon was very certain that boyfriend was the biological father of her 6-month-old daughter. But she had a lot of proving to do because the allegations that were levied against her for cheating were outrageous, and she was about to lose her relationship.
Miss Damon, you claim you are certain that your boyfriend is the father of your 6-month-old daughter, Paisley. Recent allegations of cheating have caused a strain on your relationship. You're hoping that today's paternity results will help you save your family. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Damon wasn't going to beat around the bush. For her, it didn't feel like they were in love anymore. She even referred to their living condition as that of roommates and not that of couples. The reason for their messy situation was the doubts surrounding the paternity of the child, even though they never liked to speak about it.
We're living like roommates.
Really?
Yes.
So it's affected the relationship that much?
Yes, Your Honor. We both have this doubt in the back of our mind. We don't speak of it, but it's there. We know it. I found out that I was pregnant. I told him, and we just both had like a look of fear in our eyes, like, what did we do?
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was waiting for you to say, and at that moment we were so happy.
No.
You had a look of fear.
When Ms. Damon found out she was pregnant, there was no excitement whatever between her and Mr. Osborne. A day before she found out she was pregnant, Mr. Osborne received a text message from Ms. Damon's best friend informing him that the baby could possibly have another father. Trust me, that was a message he didn't see coming.
Jillian might be pregnant, and she said it's another guy's. Just thought I'd let you know. Also, she's been blank, guy 2, out in blank, and guy 3. But there are new people she's been blanking. So this is your best friend?
Ex-best friend.
After the bombshell from the text he received had been revealed, there was no way on earth he was going to be happy about Ms. Damon being pregnant. He found that his girlfriend had been messing around with 3 other guys he didn't know of. Even with his doubts, he didn't just disappear, he wanted to be there for the child, as he grew up without a father.
Are you gonna be stupid and try to step up and raise another man's child, or just dip out and run?
So why didn't you? Why didn't you just run? Why didn't you just say, I can't do this?
There is a chance that she is my child, and I grew up without a dad, and I didn't want her to grow up without a father.
Ms. Damon denied all the accusations about her having a sexual relationship with 3 other men aside from her boyfriend. To her surprise, her best friend showed up in court, and the courtroom was about to be a battleground. Judge Lauren was determined to get the truth out of everyone, so she asked Ms. Damon's best friend to come in. Ms. Taylor, who happened to be her best friend, didn't spare Ms. Damon at all when she revealed all her secrets.
And these messages read, hate this stupid blank. That's referring to Mr. Osborne. I'm about to wait till he falls asleep and go to another guy. You write back,
Really?
the next morning, did you go? She responds, yes, girl, I've been up all night. He's still sleeping.
As you would expect, all fingers were pointing at Ms. Damon. She had a lot of explaining to do, but her best friend just kept dropping more secrets. They got so bad that even the boyfriend got to find out things he had never heard before. One thing is for sure, though, Ms. Damon and Ms. Taylor are not going to be best friends after this.
You're angry.
I was probably angry at him, yes.
I know that you slept with multiple people and attempted to sleep with a fourth.
How do you know this, Miss Taylor?
I was there with her with one man.
Oh, you were?
Yes.
So you
What happened?
condoning her cheating on me?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, probably because you was doing the same thing.
I was faithful to my man, but I supported her cheating on you, very much so.
You just had to imagine what could have gone wrong between Ms. Damon and her best friend that would make her spill every single secret Ms. Damon had told her. With the way things were going, there was a high chance the relationship was coming to an end.
Every time she got a chance, she would go to one guy's house in particular, and if he didn't answer, there was another one, and then if he didn't answer, there was one that I helped her introduce her to, and then she would go to his house, and then there was another one that she attempted to sleep with, but he had a girlfriend already.
What in the world? What is going on here? You just ringing doorbells?
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Osborne, Ms. Damon, and her best best friend. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth. Get ready, paternity folks.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Osborne, you are the father. I can see how much that meant to you, Mr. Osborne.
This was a betrayal like no other between best friends, and somehow how Ms. Rose managed to find herself in the middle of the whole drama. She was in court to petition for a DNA test for two men, one of whom was her on and off boyfriend, and the second was her boyfriend's best friend. Mr. Jefferson, who happened to be the boyfriend, just wanted to know if the baby was his because he claimed he knew his girlfriend was a cheat.
Rose, you are asking the court for DNA tests on two men. Your on again, off again boyfriend, Mr. Jefferson, and his good friend, Mr. Power, who is waiting outside of the courtroom.
Yes, Your Honor.
Both men, you say, could possibly be the father of your 3-year-old son, Sire.
Yes.
Now, Ms. Rose, you're also suing Mr. Jefferson for $5,000 for defamation of character.
The only logical question to be asked was why Mr. Jefferson felt he couldn't be the father of the two kids in question. As you would have it, their relationship wasn't particularly the romantic type. While they claimed to be dating each other, they were also having separate relationships with people outside of their initial relationship.
When we first got together, we were dating several different people besides, I was with other girls besides her, and she was with other guys besides me when we first got together. And every time we would break up, she would go right with my friend, Michael Powers. And when she first got pregnant, we were both seeing other people at the time.
Okay.
You know? So
non-committed relationship.
yes, very non-committed relationship at first.
Ms. Rose admitted that there was actually a time when she was in a sexual relationship with both Mr. Jefferson and his best friend. After having a sexual relationship with both men for over a month, she decided to take things seriously with Mr. Jefferson. The big question now was, did she really end things with the best friend?
There was a point where I was sleeping with both of them at the same time. And then later, that probably went on for a good month. And then I ended up, getting more serious with him. What happened is actually I stopped seeing Michael and committed to Kenneth. And then I ended up finding out I was pregnant about 2.5 weeks later.
With Sire.
With Sire, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jefferson began another story about how much Ms. Rose used to mean a lot to him. He claimed he would do anything for her because she was the love of his life. But then, even though she was so special to him, he noticed some behaviors she had that just didn't sit right with him. She was a waitress at a bar, and most of the time when she worked, she would flirt with men just to get a tip from them.
Once I committed to her and fell in love with her, my whole life was her. But she's always been a very flirtatious person. She's a waitress, and she has to flirt when she's a waitress to get tips, and I understand that. But
That's just my outgoing personality.
No, but
I don't have to flirt to get tips. What is that?
I understand that, but
last time I heard you just had to serve the table real well to get a good tip.
Ms. Rose wasn't denying the fact that her behavior could make any man get jealous and upset. She claimed Mr. Jefferson's form of jealousy was a little too above the edge for her liking. She even gave an instance where Mr. Jefferson embarrassed her at her place of work. He pulls up to her place of work and creates a scene that I feel he should even be ashamed of.
The manager comes and asks me, is that your van out there? And is that your husband sitting in your van with your kids? I go out there, I'm like, are you okay? What's wrong? Why are you sitting here? And he's like, oh, I know you're gonna sleep with that bartender, he's married. And yeah, I went back out there, I was like, please just leave. Like, the lady's gonna call the cops right now. I don't want the cops to come with my kids in the car. It's not cool anymore. Just go home. I'm fine, I'm working.
So you're watching her interact with these customers?
yes.
It was time to hear from the best friend that got them into this mess in the first place. Now Mr. Power, who happens to be Mr. Jefferson's best friend, walks into the courtroom and can't even make eye contact with his best friend. You could sense the level of betrayal between the both of them. But one thing was for sure though, Mr. Power felt really bad.
Well, Your Honor, I met Alicia at a bar. Within 2 hours, we were back at her house having unprotected sex. We hooked up multiple times. Some stuff you don't know, brother. She's just a bad person. I just
That you keep sleeping with?
It takes two, brother.
It does. It does take two. It does take two. And I'm not saying that I'm innocent.
With the two men and Ms. Rose looking at each other in the courtroom, the only question left was to ask Ms. Rose if she was certain that the kids she was claiming to be for Mr. Jefferson were actually his. In her defense, she claimed she did the math, and she was quite sure that they belonged to him.
How much?
15.
15%. You got this, Jerome? 15%?
I know that my son is his. The calculations, like I'm a certified medical assistant, and I know that when your period, when you can get pregnant and like when you cannot, and I know like when everything was.
She was telling me the whole time, Your Honor, that I was the only possible father.
Well, it's high time we brought this paternity war zone to a close. It's been one tricky ride here, but all that suspense is about to be over. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth.
Mr. Jefferson, you are the father. Mr. Power, you are not.
Thank you.
The father.
God.
Mr. Jefferson, you are the father.
That's all I wanted to know.
Ms. Weir was in front of the judge to complain about how hard it has been raising her child without the help of his father. She claimed that she was very certain the defendant, who happened to be her best friend, was the father, and she didn't understand why he didn't want to accept the responsibility. Mr. Wilson, the best friend in the picture, claimed she was running out of options for a potential father, and she's trying to pin the baby on him.
You claim that after one night of passion with the defendant, you ended up pregnant, but he is now denying paternity of your 3-year-old son, Ayante. You opened your case to prove he is the father because you are tired of raising your son alone. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Weir started off her story by talking about how she and Mr. Wilson became friends. As she could recall, they had been friends for over 8 years, and she sometimes saw him as a brother. But that wasn't the mind-blowing thing about her story. She claimed Mr. Wilson was no ordinary best friend, but a gay one at that.
Years ago, just, passing through the city, I was going to hair school at the time, and, I would see him on my way to hair school. We would hang out with each other, potluck, he cooked something, I cooked something, bring it over to his house, or he'd come over to my house, long talks, this is my gay best friend,
Oh, your gay best friend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Wislan wasn't denying the fact that he and Ms. Weir had an amazing friendship. They were fond of each other, always hanging out and going to parties. You could even say they were the real best friend goals. The big question on everyone's mind now was how they found themselves in such a situation after they claimed to be very good friends. Something had to have gone wrong somewhere.
We could hang out with each other, we had a good conversation, we like mutual things, and plus I met her in passing because she did hair. My gay best friend loved getting his hair done and doing all that type of stuff, so we just pretty much crossed in passing whatever together.
And you were dating other people at this time?
Yes, ma'am.
You were really good friends?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so now take me to the night where things shifted.
It was storytelling time, and Ms. Weir took the floor to talk about how things went from having a normal best friend relationship to a sexual relationship with her gay best friend. As she could recall, they got really drunk, and this was where things escalated and turned into something else. Apparently, Ms. Weir had feelings for Mr. Wilson from the very beginning, but never told him.
He had came on over, we got to drinking, watching little movies or whatever, and I ain't gonna lie, I made a move, and he didn't push me away, so that was my reassurance. Okay, maybe he want this too.
So wait. So hold on, wait. Y'all done switched from the potluck to the potluck.
Yeah.
The storytelling gets a little tricky, and the truths start to come out of their hidden sports. Apparently, the idea of Mr. Wilson coming over to Ms. Weir's house was a plan orchestrated by Ms. Weir to trick Mr. Wilson into having a sexual experience with her. Mr. Wilson had no idea what was going to happen when he went to pay her a visit.
Yes, Your Honor. I just thought we were just gonna be chilling, like we always do, watch TV, drink, just do what we normally do. She kind of seduced me, we started drinking, I got intoxicated, one thing led to another.
She seduced you how?
Basically, after she got me drunk, she kind of started filling up on me and stuff, and then, it went from oral, then it just went from there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then the argument or the use of protection sprung up, and both Mr. Wilson and Ms. Weir were at lockheads trying to figure out if they used protection. Mr. Wilson claimed that he remembered himself putting on a condom before they kicked it in bed, but Ms. Weir smiled at him and said he didn't use protection, and she was very certain because he was very drunk.
Your Honor, I used the condom.
Mr. Wilson.
We're not,
Mr. Wilson, you did not.
I'm not gonna go there.
You did not.
Your Honor. I used the condom.
Your Honor,
I know what I put on me.
Use no condom.
I know what I put on me, Your Honor. She's done tested multiple people. She's just trying to pin the child on me. I love her and all because my godson, but this is not my child, Your Honor. This is just...
Your Honor, I don't play the pinning game. I don't do that. It's just not me.
Mr. Wilson definitely didn't want to be the father of the child, so he wasn't going to hold back on any truth in the courtroom. He told the judge that while they had a one-time sexual experience, was also having other sexual relationships with a couple of other men. To make things even worse, she wasn't using protection with the men she was having sex with.
Were you sexually sexually active with the other men?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Were you using protection with those men?
Some I was.
Some?
Wow.
How many other men?
A lot of them, Your Honor. She don't even know.
How many? Say it loud and proud. You said you're a confident woman.
3.
3 other men besides Mr. Wilson.
And the ones
Yes,
that are
Your Honor.
tested, Your Honor.
All right.
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Wilson and Ms. Weir. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are not the father.
Thank you, Your Honor. You know, I'm sorry, and I don't want to be the bad guy or nothing. I love her, and I love my godson, but I'm glad that we just got this out the way and stuff now.
There was a lot of tension in the courtroom as regards this particular situation. A lot of hearts were broken, and all that was left was to determine who the father was. Mr. Pace was going to be devastated if he found that the results from the DNA were not in his favor. What was worse for him was the fact that his girlfriend cheated on him with his best friend.
Mr. Pace, you say you will be crushed today if DNA results reveal you are not the biological father of your son, Prince.
Yes, Your Honor.
You maintain that the defendant betrayed you by cheating with Prince's second possible father, your best friend.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Fobbs, you say you were caught between the man you're in love with and his best friend.
Yes, Your Honor.
For Mr. Pace, everything was at stake. He was going to lose 3 separate relationships if it turned out that he wasn't the father. The one he has with his girlfriend, the one he has with his best friend, and the relationship he had built with the child in question.
Well, what's at stake would be, I would say, 3 relationships. The relationship that I have with Ms. Fobbs, as well as the relationship that I have with Mr. Randolph, also the relationship that I have with Prince. So there is a lot on the line for me. That's my little man. We watch TV together, we ball, I'm feeding him cereal in the morning. He's like my real little buddy, and
The relationship between Mr. Pace and Ms. Fobbs started as a really beautiful one. They initially met in traffic, and he got her number from there. Before you know it, they went on a couple of dates and things kicked off from there. Anyone who heard the story would automatically wish they were the ones in such a situation. It was so beautiful to listen to. But then the dark days came.
we had a conversation. I ended up getting her phone number. We went out on a few dates. We kind of bonded real quick. She ended up moving in with me and Mr. Randolph. Shortly after her moving in, she became pregnant. Once we found that out, being that she wanted her own space, we ended up moving into another spot together. And that's where I've been ever since, as far as in the relationship with her.
It was time for Ms. Fobbs to answer the allegations of how her cheating started. Apparently, she moved in with her boyfriend and his best friend, and that's where it all began. She claimed that the cheating escapade happened only once with Mr. Pace's best friend, and it was because he was always away at work.
I kind of took that as a feeling of neglect. The situation with me and Randolph was a mistake, a big mistake, the worst mistake I think I ever made, because I've never intentionally set out to hurt Byron in any way. I just want this to be okay. I want everything to stay the way it is. I don't want us to separate the situation or anything.
The magic question was finally asked, and everyone wanted to know how Ms. Fobbs ended up sleeping with Mr. Pace's best friend. Mr. Pace said was in a very heated argument with Ms. Fobbs when she dropped the bombshell on him.
That's interesting. We were actually in a heated argument at the time that it occurred, but it kind of just got blurted out to me that Mr. Randolph could be a potential father for Prince.
Wait a minute. So you're in a heated argument as a couple, and just out of the blue she yells, and by the way, your best friend could be Prince's father?
Prince was 2.5 at the time.
When Mr. Pace found out the atrocity that had occurred, he immediately went to his best friend to ask him point blank if he actually slept with Ms. Fobbs. Sadly, he didn't deny the accusation. Everyone in the courtroom couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that something like that happened.
Strangely enough, he did say it.
So, Mr. Randolph, I just have to ask, how could you sleep with your best friend's girl?
Well, to answer that, Your Honor, I wasn't in the right state of mind. We both was intoxicated. He was out promoting clubs, and she used to come home from the club intoxicated and, looking for him.
Now, Mr. Randolph, the best friend who could also be a potential father to Ms. Fobbs' child, submitted a picture of him, and the child claiming that there was a resemblance between him and the baby. But Ms. Fobbs said she couldn't see any type of resemblance when she looked at the picture.
And you think you look pretty much exactly alike?
Little characteristics, forehead maybe, mouth, but
When you look at this picture, Ms. Fobbs, do you see any resemblance?
No, I don't.
None.
None.
Do you see a resemblance to Mr. Pace?
Yeah, he looks like Byron more than
What?
he looks like Randolph.
I see my nose a little.
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of the child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Pace and Ms. Fobbs. Who is the father going to be?
Mr. Pace, you are not his father.
My bad, bro.
Oh, man.
So sorry.
That's not what I wanted to hear.
I'm so sorry.